and welcome back. In this video you will learn about framing and how you can help someone see things from a different perspective. By doing this, it will help them represent all the experiences they have in a way that actually empowers them the most. This is particularly useful if someone comes to you with a problem or you are wanting to support someone on Ecology. So what is framing? Well, using a frame will change your interpretation of an experience. The meaning of any experience depends on the frame we have around that experience or the context of that experience. For example, if you are asked what does a whisper mean, you might respond with, well, a whisper all by itself doesn't have any specific meaning. What if you were in a room full of people who are all whispering back and forth to one another? What kind of meaning would that whisper take on for you? What if there were a child leaning into your ear telling you something? What about an instructor in the front of a room talking really loudly and then whispering a word or two? What do these situations do to the meaning of a whisper? Likewise, a painful experience when looked at from a short-term perspective can seem overwhelming. However, when looked at over one's lifetime, the event has little or no emotional impact. If you're in a conversation with a friend, colleague or peer on Ecology, you actually may want to challenge someone else's view or open them up to new ideas or perspectives conversationally. Here are a few frames commonly used in NLP to help you guide someone else's thinking. The agreement frame is the first one. The agreement frame is like verbal Aikido. It can be used if you are being personally attacked or you're in an argument, or perhaps you just have a different opinion about something. Much like an Aikido fighter, you redirect the attack and use that energy to disrupt or unbalance the attacker. Rather than verbally blocking or confronting the person, you align with it. You say things like, I agree with you, that's true, you're right, and obviously this is where you would say your point of view, or try to get your view across. The key here is to say and rather than but. But actually negates what you have just said, and the agreement statement will not get the desired result. The agreement frame uses the idea that people see things from different perspectives and that they are right from their perspective. You could say, yes, I see, I agree with you, you're right, I can see that from your perspective. And if you look at it from this way, I think you'll agree with me that there are other ways of approaching it. The agreement frame is a way of maintaining rapport and allows you to find something you can agree on, have common ground on, or just be on the same page on. When using this pattern on Ecology, an example might be, I agree, I can see from your side how you would think that, and if you were to approach it in a different way, what might be the difference? Or you could say, I respect your opinion, and I want to add that if you were to do X, Y, Z, you may get a totally different result. What do you think? Here's another, the Ecology frame. The Ecology frame looks to the long term. It evaluates events and situations beyond the limitations of any boundaries you would normally place in time, space, and with the people. You judge on how an experience fits into the wider system of your life, including your friends, family, and work life. You think about the wider consequences of the event and whether they are in keeping with your values. A good way of doing this is to imagine you are in the future looking back at the event or situation that has just happened. This will give you a sense of perspective. For example, perhaps you've just had a breakdown in your relationship and you are feeling rather emotional. If you were to take yourself forward in time, imagine to a time perhaps in the future, say 2 weeks ahead or 3 months ahead, 2 years ahead, or even 10 years ahead, what would have changed for you? How would life be different? What might your life look like now? How might it affect the people around you? When working with others, you can just simply ask these sorts of questions. Get them to look at the situation in wider terms. Other questions you could ask is, how will this change be over the long term? Who else will it affect? What would they think? So as you can see, the Ecology frame is a good one to look at, and it gives us a sense of perspective. Next one is the outcome frame. Outcome frames look through the lenses by whether your actions and thinking take you closer to your outcome. You can use it on yourself or when in conversations with others. After talking to someone, you will likely find out what they want in their life or what they are working towards. When talking to others, ask these types of questions to get them focused on their outcome or goals. What are you trying to achieve right now? What do you want? What does this get for you? What would you like to happen? As you can see, all these questions steer the other person to think about the outcome and what they truly want. The opposite of the outcome frame is the problem frame. Now here is where we are looking at finding the issues and who's accountable. You might ask questions like, what's wrong? Who's to blame? Who's going to fix it? What's not working well? By identifying the key issues and who is at fault, you are in a much better place and position to address the problem and solve it. A good way of working with a peer or friend is to use the problem frame first and then flip it to look at the situation and possibilities or opportunities by using the outcome frame. By framing it in this situation, you will take a person from being stuck to being in a hopeful and forward-thinking place. Here's another, the as-if frame. This frame evaluates by pretending you are already in a situation or where you want to be. It's often used for problem solving. You pretend something has happened in order to explore the possibilities and consequences and opportunities. The questions you would ask another person are, what would it be like if X, Y, Z happened? Can you guess what would happen? Can we suppose that it happened? What would it be like? Or imagine if you had achieved your goal, what would that enable you to do? The last one I have for you is softening. This is a good one to use if there is a breakdown in your understanding or you get to a sticking point in the conversation. You might say, maybe it's me being slow, but please could you just explain that to me again? Okay, you can see that by framing something you can guide someone else's thinking and obviously how they feel about a situation and how they might react to something. Questions are very powerful thought frames. How might you use this in the future? Okay, that's it for this one. You'll see me in the next.